Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everybody. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Tanya.
And what a day. What a weekend.
You always say that.
It always is. It always is. Anyway, folks, thanks for joining us on a summer Sunday night of politics. You could be doing almost anything else, but you're choosing to spend it with two ridiculous Canadians sitting behind a microphone talking about Canadian politics. So thank you very much for joining us. On your way in, please do us a favor, click that like button. Make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube loves going through and unsubscribing people because they think that people don't want to watch anymore. Check all your channels, by the way, not just Northern Perspective. Make sure they're all still there. And put your feet up, grab your beverage of choice, and welcome to NP Nation. So before we get any further, let's go to House Rules.
The house rules are the same three as always. Number one, please respect each other in the chat and the folks running the show. So that includes us, anybody else you might see on screen, as well as our moderators. This evening we have Juster. We also have Jack and Randy, who's changed his name because somebody keeps calling him Jack. And then we will have Barnaby joining us later. Barnaby's going to be the one taking questions. So please save your questions for Barnaby. And when you see him, you can tag at Barnaby from Northern Perspective with your question.
This is going to be ridiculous because now I'm going to have to remember his name is also Jack. Like,
I guess you should have stopped calling him after my mom's cat.
Yes. I guess. And I don't even know where it comes from.
Actually, Jack is more like Dad's cat, I think. And their other cat, Rose, is more like my mom's cat. But like, you know.
So we have Jack.
They're family pets.
Jack and Randy now.
Randy! Have you been hanging out with Randy?
So anyway, folks. But.
Oh, sorry. It's Jack, a.k.a. Randy.
Oh, a.k.a.
Sorry.
Randy? Okay.
Sorry.
Fine. Okay.
Rule number 2 is no soliciting, selling, or spamming in the chat. And number 3 is please do not use profanity. We try to keep it parliamentary around here.
And Dixie Workers asking, is that a new hat? Yes, it is. It is a new hat. I went to Calgary with one, intended on coming back with one, ended up coming back with 3. So 1 was a surprise and 2 was an unexpected purchase. So there we go. Anyway. Phasing out Randy eventually. Yeah, sure you are. Anyway, our mods have wonderful senses of humor. Some people argue better than mine, but that's just fine. Anyway, so thanks everybody for joining. New people coming in, just keep reminding them to hit that like button because we're still about 50% behind. So let's just deal with first things first. If you hadn't seen our video, which I'm pretty sure you have, unless you've been living in a campsite with no Wi-Fi for the last couple of days, you'll know that the legendary Larry Brock has tendered his resignation for many personal reasons, and he's going to be resigning as of September 18th. And a by-election could be called anytime after that, up to 6 months away. So basically around February, March-ish timeline, whenever Mark Carney decides to call it. So there's going to be another by-election coming up. And this is why we say, don't count your chickens in a fragile majority, because anything can happen, anyone can win. So,
and if you're in the area, please reach out to the EDA and get involved. They're going to need people canvassing. They're going to need people stuffing mailers. They're going to need people putting up signs. They're going to need all sorts of stuff when the by-election is finally called.
So, anyhow, there's that. And I do potentially... I apologize in potential advance is what I mean, because I may get a I've been waiting for a very important phone call this week, or sorry, tonight.
This evening, yeah.
Because I was speaking to somebody earlier today, and I'm supposed to get a call back at some point this evening. So if it is during the live stream, I apologize. I'll be taking it, running and taking it as quick as I can.
And then you'll be stuck with me.
This is the life of independent media, unfortunately. So some of these phone calls you take when you get them, because it's difficult getting them otherwise. Anyway, so thanks everybody for joining. And if you're on Facebook or on X, you may have seen one of our Larry Brock moments that we liked the most, and that was him questioning Christian Firth and the revelation of the chalet versus the cottage moment actually came to fruition. And
then you'll see the comic I made of it, the Simpsons comic or the Simpsons meme, whatever you want to call it. I had made that like when it happened, and I was like, well, this is kind of goofy. I don't know if I want to post it, but I think the time is appropriate.
well, it was just funny because Christian Firth says it's a chalet. He didn't call it a cottage. And you hear this pause, and the camera goes back to Larry Brock, and he's like, and unfortunately, the guys that were controlling the microphones weren't quick enough, and he said something that you can't hear, and then all of a sudden you're like, are you kidding me? And then you see Barrett come in behind, and he's just like this freaking guy.
Just
And
like giving the stare.
And
right?
then he said, Barrett says a few things, and then it actually picks him up saying this guy hasn't been telling the truth the whole time. Like it's quite the scene, and it almost makes you want to go back and watch the live streams that we had back in the time. Almost has like a Netflix rerun of Larry Brock's greatest hits back for ArriveCan and SDTC. But the good news is Larry's talents will not be going to waste. He's going to be going back to the position that he put a pause on when he left. So he's going to be back prosecuting and putting the evildoers hopefully behind bars until they can, be let out on bail again. But
hopefully for a longer time than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going to be busy. So at least his talents are not going to go to waste. So thank you, Larry Brock, for your service since you were elected in 2021, and thank you for your future service as you continue the incredibly important work of prosecuting the people that end up coming before you. I don't envy any of these people that are going to have to face literal Larry the prosecutor. So
I remember one time it was at the rally in Stony Creek, and Larry got up to speak, and someone from the back, and I know I've met him since, and he
Chris
just
Van
showed it.
Bommel.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I thought I was going to say Chris, but I wasn't 100% sure, and I didn't want to offend anybody. But yeah, he just shouted, he almost got me. It was hilarious.
and Larry's like, yeah.
But I am going to miss watching him in committee. Larry is one of the, I think, the men with the most amount of integrity that I know. No offense. But he's just such a shining example of what it means to be a good person and to really stand up for what you believe in, and to really reward right and punish wrong, or however you want to say it, like to be an example for the rest of your community, for the rest of your caucus, for the rest of your colleagues. And I really am going to miss watching him in committee, and I'm sad that there's no cameras in courtrooms, so I won't be able to watch him, going after somebody.
Well, and in case anyone is interested in watching the Netflix rerun, I am going to post the link because we do have a playlist for ArriveCan, and it's almost like a series. There's 52 videos in it, and we've called it "Scammed on Arrival." And I called it that a long time ago. So if you're interested in that, the link is in chat, and you can watch it when you have nothing else to watch, which there's lots to watch. So, but if you're interested, there it is. And
Okay, I'm going to pin that, and then I'm going to copy it for later.
I believe that's the complete archive of Northern Perspective coverage of ArriveCan. And I think it starts with, it may have started with the first video that I accidentally blew open as our first expose. And it was something, I was going to do a video on a Saturday in the fall of 2023. And I'm like, okay, I'll do an hour or so of research and just to tie up some loose ends on this, and then I'll record a video. and the loose ends didn't get tied up. The
I
loose ends
remember
led to other
that.
things.
It was a Saturday afternoon, and like 7 hours later, I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Like I started at 9 a.m. and like I wanted to record it and be ready for the afternoon so I could have, the rest of the day or something. The day didn't happen because it was 6 o'clock by the time I actually did something. And then like I kept saying, holy crap, you won't believe what I found. Like, oh my, and
I remember that.
the beginning of the Arrive Can saga was born, I believe. So,
And you will see the puppets in this. I don't know if it's the original ones, but it's definitely not us. It's before we had revealed exactly who we are.
I think it was, well, let me just take a look.
Because it was in the fall of 2023.
Yeah.
So it was either version 2 or version 3 or maybe both, but I don't think it was version 1 still.
Well, I'll tell you right now. This is version 2. Version 2 of the puppets. So,
There you go.
or the avatars rather, because they're no longer puppets.
Yeah, we always call the first ones the puppets because they're so awful.
Yeah, it's like those terrible ventriloquist puppets that you see sometimes. Irish Miss says, "Is the doorbell broken?" It is not broken, but by the numbers, it would look like it is. So I'll leave that within NP Nation. Anyway, let's get to some of the pre-chat activity. So we have Alice Avonlea for $5. Even out of the stones thrown in your ways, you can build something beautiful out of it. Silence doesn't ask questions, but gives answers. That's a good quote. And if only I was good enough to actually
I was going to say,
read it
except you
properly.
butchered it.
Oh, Freeland's feet.
Oh, no.
Freeland's feet.
How dare you?
Poor Carney caught between China and U.S. own goal. Right. From Bath, member for 26 months. Your predictions keep playing out. It's funny how that's happening. Jessica Van Luke for $7. Carney is scared of Trump. He runs away. Summerlin burns Carney, runs away. This is truly not leadership. It's evil. No, it's pathetic is what it is. And we'll be talking about that a little more tonight. Jessica Van Luke for $7. So sweet that a follower decided to organize a motorbike drive-by for Maya. She loves motorcycles. Her reaction was adorable.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I just reposted that on Facebook a little bit before getting ready for the live stream. So if anybody is interested in that, you can check that out on our Facebook page. It was amazing to see all of the bikers drive by. It was awesome, and she didn't stop waving the whole time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I think it was her dad saying, "You can give him the rock on, Maya. You can give him the rock on," and you see her do this. Like,
Aw.
so,
That's so sweet.
We got to do that for a little boy, actually. I think it was during COVID.
Yeah,
I think it was
because he couldn't have a birthday party. Yeah, and I believe he was autistic as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and he
and-
loves Mustangs, right? So, so we have Mustang, and a bunch of the local guys ended up just saying, let's drive up there, and it was great. It was very similar. He was on his staying on the sidewalk and loved hearing the engines rev, and actually Tanya made him something. She made him like a wooden plaque.
I wonder if I have it. If I send it to you on Discord, can you throw it up on, or is that too much work?
I guess.
Okay, I'm positive I have it.
But these are the important things. These are the things that bind us together, and it doesn't matter what party you're in. It just this is what Canadians do, and we need to always remember who we are, and always remember what it means to really care for our neighbors, no matter where they are, whether it's next door, the next street over, the next town over, or the next province over. So.
Oh, there it is.
So that was wonderful that that a local organization organized that for Maya. Just me, Nicole, I'm for 31 months. Good evening, everyone. Hit the like. Absolutely. So And we have listless receptionist. Good to see you for $2. Jack and Rose from Titanic. That door had room.
It wasn't a door. It was the archway from the ballroom, I think. Yeah, it was like the top of just the archway, so it was probably made of something like plaster.
Where did you put it?
Oh, I gave it to you. Do you want me to send it somewhere else?
No, it's just,
Oh, okay.
You didn't tell me where it was.
For some reason, it's coming up as a video file, but or you can just like screenshot it. I don't know.
Let's see.
Next one is from Trish Prue with a $7 super chat. It says, today I'm officially old enough to get Shoppers Drug Mart senior discount. LOL. Keep up all your great work and hello to MP Nation. Awesome. Happy birthday. That's exciting. My mom likes going to Shoppers Drug Mart. She'll be like, okay, what do I need so that I can get my seniors discount?
Right.
Hey, you know what? Take advantage of it. You've earned it.
Okay, so let's get this up here. Okay, so for folks interested, this is what Tanya made the little boy, and it was pretty neat. This is when Tanya used to do a lot more woodworking than she does today. So,
Because I have no time.
and obviously the young lad's name was Gavin. So, so hopefully Gavin's enjoying that. But this is what we do. Okay. Next we have, what is this? Oh, that was Trish. You already got that.
I got that one.
Oh, Chris Van Bommel. There he is.
There we go.
For $5. If Larry Brock is going back to the judicial system, that's a great thing to hear. Maybe not for you. Start running. And Rusty Shackelford for $5 going to Miss Larry at the House and the committee. I wish him all the best in the courtroom and hopefully one day the bench if he so wishes. Yeah, I think
that was one of his goals eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully down the road.
He would make an awesome judge.
Maybe when the Conservatives get in power, maybe he'll get a judicial appointment at that point.
I thought the provinces appoint the provincial judges.
Yeah.
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 So the Conservatives are in power now, provincially.
No, I know, but if he ends up
The Conservatives
wants to be a judge in federal court, I don't think he cares. So, Sparks, note Jessica Van Leek for $7. Hopefully by next live stream, Willow have had her second litter. Willow's getting busy.
Don't be rude.
She's the one doing it. Spark Spice for $5. Is there a difference between a cottage and a chalet? Maybe along the lines of an African or European swallow.
Oh my god.
African swallows are no migratory. That's the difference. How do you know so much about swallows? You have to know these things as a king, you know. Ravu Sadie's for $5. Don't get me started on Monty Python. It is sad that the prosecutor is back before the bench and will not have the opportunity to prosecute any of the rampant corruption in our government. Well, he's been doing a good job all the way up to now, so he has had some opportunity. Any further corruption?
Well, and if I know Larry, I think that like taking a job closer to home may have been beneficial, but like I'm sure he misses being an MP.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he was traveling the country this summer talking about how the Conservatives are going to stop crime in this country. And, you know, whenever he would come in for an interview, he was always so passionate about teaching us about crime and the criminal justice system and what's going wrong and how we can fix it. So, I'm sure he's sad to not be an MP anymore, but I think maybe he may also be excited to resume his previous role.
Well, technically he's an MP up until the 18th of
Yes,
September.
that's true.
And we don't see him canceling any of the events that he actually had planned. So kudos to him. He's serving his position up until the last day, and I would expect nothing less from him. And Libby T for $10. Burlington is doing a town hall on crime August 15th at 10 a.m. at the Burlington Central Library. Larry Brock will be there with Emily Brown. There you go.
Yes, I think we're planning to go to that one. Yeah.
And Eo Sakin for $5. Evening around the respective. Did you hear that the Ireland IRC are violently fighting back against immigrants who are attacking citizens? That's
interesting.
Interesting.
I'm not sure, honestly, how I feel about that, just because I am a big fan of law and order. So, yeah, it's better to catch people, give them a trial, and put them in jail than, you know, use your own fists, I suppose.
So, no, didn't know that. So I'll be looking into that after. Whiffers SS for $10. My Senate tour group had the pleasure of meeting Senator Andrew Cardozo, who is on the Future of News Media Committee. He said the senators do not want to hear from the public. Do want to hear. Thank you.
I was going to say, that doesn't sound
Maybe that's
right.
where Jack comes from. I don't know. But do want to hear from the public. Nothing to lose by writing in. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And the senators are not assigned to the way that your MP is. For your MP, everybody in your riding has the same MP. But with the senators, you can write to anyone who's in your province. I mean, I suppose you could even write to somebody outside of your province, but I don't know if they really have the ability to get anything done, but you can always write them to say hello.
Second for $2. I was corrected. I put IRC, but it was IRA. I think everyone understood that it was IRA.
I didn't.
No. Everyone but Tanya. Revis Ace for $5. The bad news is Summerland Fire is actively eating houses on the edge of the city. The good news, the one further north by O'Keefe Ranch is being held. Well, we'll take good news when it comes to forest fires any day. So please, everybody, stay safe out there. So Mega Man for $0 for $5. Now that the snake is cornered, he might fight like a cornered snake. Beware the snake oil. Beware the venom. Why not both?
Nice.
And I want to make sure I get this right. Monica Mills for $14. Thank you very much. Been zoning it for a while. The floor crossing and the Liberals getting majority, but still having hope that something miraculous is happening. Keep up the good work you do.
We will.
Something miraculous is happening because Canadians are slowly over time waking up.
Well, and we've spoken to a number of MPs over the summer, and they're as motivated as ever.
And they're starting to hear some interesting things at the doors, too. Justin Brown for $7. Actually, before that, Les Harrett with a $10 super thank you. Thank you very much for your jumping pair. Justin Brown for $7 while at the regatta in St. John's. Pierre Polyev failed to mention that the shipyard on the Burin Peninsula is Marystown. Who failed Polyev? I'm not sure what that means.
My guess is that he gave a speech and perhaps forgot to mention the location of the shipyard.
No, I know.
Or
but
got it wrong, perhaps.
I don't know what it means when he says who failed. Oh, who failed Polyev?
Yeah, question.
Oh.
Yeah. Whoever wrote it, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, probably. There's a list. There's a list of people. So
the speechwriter, the proofreader.
So I imagine someone's going to hear it. But yeah, that's important, especially being at the regatta. It's absolutely important, and I'm sure the folks that that work at that shipyard and live in Marystown, that's going to be important to you. So I appreciate you mentioning it because it deserves mentioning. Thank you. And Freeland's Fate. We're going to get it.
How dare you?
Will Mr. Brock take his experience to combat crime? That's literally what he's doing. That's what he did before, and he's going right back to it. And just to address this, just in case there's anybody that has a misunderstanding. So Larry was appointed to be a Crown prosecutor. That appointment does not happen from the federal government. That happens in the province. And Larry is not going back. He's not been appointed to this position right now.
Yeah.
So there's been this talk going on that this is a bribe that he took from Mark Carney to leave his seat.
Never.
No. So
No.
that's absolutely, completely untrue.
No, if you've ever met Mr. Brock, you would know that his integrity is so high, he would never even consider taking a bribe. Like, I was getting really upset when I was seeing people all over Facebook, all over X, even YouTube saying it. And it wasn't just liberal people. There were some conservative people who were making this accusation as well. And I don't know if it was for clicks or what, but it's 100% not true.
Well, and you don't even have to account for that, what Tanya just said. You don't have to count for Mr. Brock's integrity, which is top shelf. It's top shelf whiskey. I'm going to get you a super chat. I saw it. So you don't even put that to the side. He's been working as a Crown prosecutor for years and years and years, and he was appointed that through the province. So he's leaving to go back to the same position that he had before. So he wasn't reappointed. He wasn't given a new appointment. And even if he was, it wasn't from anybody in the federal government, and it's not from Mark Carney. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that that's completely clear and everybody understands that, and how that works. Anyone who is making that accusation doesn't understand how these things work, and maybe should watch Northern Perspective. So there you go. We have Austin JPB for 279. Northern Perspective is top shelf whiskey. There you go. Thank you very much.
you.
And so is NP Nation. Justin Brownman for 30 months. Thank you for your work, and Mr. Brock for his work. And actually, you know, and when we see him next, we will convey all of the best wishes from NP Nation to him. So. Rose says for $5. The good news is that Mr. Brock's riding is showing a 40% Conservatives to 30% Liberal. Hopefully that lead follows through to it going blue again. Hopefully, yes. Hopefully. And Adam Canadian, member for 28 months. Can we just get Pierre in already? Cheers, guys. There you go.
Well, we're working on it.
Corey Huard for 337. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you very, very much for that. And
Barnaby is in the chat now, so if you would like to tag at Barnaby from Northern Perspective with your questions, he will take them for you.
You sure about that? Right.
Yeah, I saw him.
All right.
I love communicating through memes. And we have Aviation 101, member for 19 months. Eating healthy has become outrageously expensive.
Yeah, like fresh produce is insane. I hardly ever buy it anymore. I buy pretty much everything frozen.
Time to make a garden, folks.
Yeah.
Time to make a garden. Okay. We're like right on time with the show today. All right, folks. So I really wish that we haven't been right about this. But unfortunately, Mark Carney is making it difficult to be wrong. As we've said and been covering all this week, Mr. Carney has had a 1.5 year long tendency to just make concessions wherever he goes in talking about the United States. And I'm not going to play the clips anymore of him saying, you know, we'll handle Donald Trump, and I know how to negotiate, and all of this stuff.
You need to play the one of you, Francois Blanchette, imitating Carney saying all that stuff.
I'm Mark Carney, and yeah, that's
that was a
great
good
one.
clip.
You know what? I will add it in post.
I was going to say.
I'll add it in post, so that's a reason to watch this tomorrow, folks. It is hilarious. Hilarious. So he's been talking up a storm from January 2025 all the way up until April 28, 2026 about how he's going to be the man. And holy moly, folks. This guy folds like a cheap suit. I would love to just sit down and play poker with him. You wouldn't have to bet because you wouldn't need to. He would just fold every hand. He would tell you what a great hand he has and how much he's going to
Make it better.
Beat you by, and how he's going to take everything, and he's a master poker player. And then by the end, he has no chips because he doesn't play. He just folds his hand. In fact, he'll keep giving you chips. So you
Just because.
you don't even need to play.
Yeah.
So this is what he's been doing. And he makes these threats. Well, if they don't do this, then I'm going to. And then the next day, it's like, well, I'm going to fold. And that's what's been happening, right? It happened last year, and it happened this week. Last year, it took 2 weeks. This week, it took 48 hours. So he's getting more efficient at folding. I guess that's a positive silver lining to talk about. But when even CBC is doing good commentary on this and reporting honestly about it, that's when Mark Carney should be concerned. Now, for those of you that don't know what is on offer, this is what is on offer from Mark Carney as he is bending the knee to Donald Trump again. So, this is what they're offering right now. So they're offering changes to access to the dairy market, which, if you've watched our coverage, the Americans have been complaining about since 2021, when Canada was found by a third party in evaluating a grievance filed through CUSMA by the United States that Canada actually violated CUSMA, and we're forced to change that so the American dairy farmers could have access to our market, and they still didn't really do that. End all the booze bans, lift the Canadian side auto tariffs, and we're going to partner more in defense, energy, and such. But I thought the defense relationship with the United States is over.
I thought we had a strategic security relationship with China
Right?
now.
Yeah. Like, what happened to all of that?
Ridiculous.
What happened to all that, Mark Carney? But that's what we're looking at. Okay, so that's what we're offering. This is what we're asking, please, pretty please, Mr. Trump. Canada asks, so please don't put these 50% tariffs on August 19th. And sectoral tariff relief. So what they're asking for is lower tariffs on 232. That is the steel and aluminum tariffs. That's the
Mold and dyeing industry.
mold, tool, and die
Yeah.
industry, or that's what it's affecting the most, and then manufacturing after that. And if you've been watching Northern Perspective, you've been keeping up with our coverage on that. I think we're the only ones talking about it. And then they want to start CUSMA review talks. Wow! You want to start CUSMA review talks? I remember last fall when they said, well, there's no point in actually getting a deal now. We're just going to wait until CUSMA talks start.
Do you remember when Carney was asked about when he's going to continue talks with Trump, and he was like, who cares?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I'll talk to him when I have something urgent to talk to him about. Right. So that's what Canada's been asking. That's what they're offering. And let's talk about the booze, okay? Because remember, wasn't that long ago, Mark Carney and all the premiers sat down and he said, "Oh, we're all in lockstep. We're united." I'm sick of that word because it's never true. Whenever any of these guys say it, we're united in common purpose and in direction. Well, obviously not, because everybody knows that David Eby said there's not a chance in hell that we're going to take the booze off themselves. He wants...
Or you mean put them back on?
Yeah, putting them back on. And Doug Ford doesn't want to do it. And Quebec has said that's not a
Priority?
No, a federal decision. That is a provincial decision. Okay, so you have three premiers that are basically saying no.
Go fly a kite, yeah.
Go fly a kite. So, before we get to the panel, a former Trudeau advisor was asked about this on CBC.
We know that the premiers have been very firm in saying that the booze bans remain in effect until the tariffs go away. How difficult might it be for the Carney government to get the premiers to play ball on this kind of thing, given the public statements by the provinces?
You've pinpointed the exact most critical issue in my mind and what could be the ultimate obstacle to a deal here. Because the Americans have said publicly, and the Canadians have in different public forums confirmed this, the Americans have said they're not going to reduce the 232 tariffs to zero. And we have several premiers saying unless those 232 tariffs go to zero, they're not going to put booze back on shelves. So this is a real problem if we're going to see an agreement by August 19th. And I'm sure the federal government is having conversations not only with the Americans, but with the provinces in real time to see if something can be cobbled together here. If there's going to be a deal to avoid the escalation in tariffs, certain premiers may have to settle for a 232 tariff that is close to zero, but not quite zero. And we'll see if that's where we land on August 19th.
And here's the problem, right? The issue is that if the Prime Minister and his team are making this promise, it's a promise they can't deliver.
Right, because they don't control it.
Right. This is a provincial decision.
I mean, it never stopped Justin Trudeau from meddling with the provinces.
No. No. But it is a provincial decision. So it's also a problem because Mark Carney has been giving so many mixed messages. And he's convinced the vast majority of Canadians that we should be putting retaliatory tariffs off. I don't think that's the best idea.
No, because who pays those retaliatory tariffs?
Canadians.
Exactly.
Now, some people may say, well, then how do we deal with this with the Americans? I think we stop fighting and we start negotiating.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, unfortunately, has the upper hand here. But we have had hands to play, but Carney keeps giving them away. This is the issue.
No.
So you don't just fold your cards and throw them in. You have to negotiate. You have to play the hand that we have. So let's get to the table and play the hand that Canada has. The problem is Conservatives are going to be criticized, and we are being criticized for criticizing Mark Carney and the negotiating position. And it's like, it's not my fault Mark Carney said that he was going to stomp Donald Trump into the ground. That was the impression that he was giving Canadians. He was telling, the dozens of people that showed up at his rallies that this is what's going to happen, and everybody cheered, and he invented elbows up with Mike Myers and all of this stuff, despite the fact that he doesn't believe in slogans. He told everybody this. So we're like, okay, let's see it. And he's doing the exact opposite. So he's the one that is not living up to the image of Mark Carney. This is the problem.
Right. It's like if I said, I'm going to bake 10 pies today, and then, maybe I make 2, but don't actually bake them.
Right.
I set the expectation and I didn't deliver.
And here we go.
Ginny, one thing that Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader, had flagged earlier this week is that he is concerned that Canada has made too many concessions and that it was whittling away its sort of bargaining power. Do you think that the reporting that we've learned today, that perhaps that might be something that he'll sort of seize on as he criticizes how the government's handled the Canada-U.S. relationship?
I think so. I mean, Jono gets at the challenge for all the politicians involved. The politics is very different from the reality. And that challenge is much worse for the prime minister. These premiers get to, whether they have an election soon or an election down the road, they get to make this entirely political because they're not the ones that have to do the deal. And they love the politics of playing tough. The prime minister loved the politics of playing tough during the election campaign, but now that he actually has to come up with a deal, that doesn't work for him, right? He has to compromise. So I'm glad to see it. I think it's good. I think there need to be compromises, but I think he eroded that position when he was doing all of that theater for all those many, many months in the lead up to becoming prime minister, and then ultimately through the campaign, and then now that he's since prime minister. And I think that's going to be the point that Poilievre's going to try to make is you can't have it both ways. You can't say your elbows up, get the political theater, get the political benefit, and then also be the person that's compromising. Not included in this reporting because it happened earlier, or maybe it was, but not as part of the deal, was coming off on the DST. All these sort of concessions that the prime minister made up to this point, where we heard, oh, maybe we're going to get a deal now. The Americans have asked for this. We're going to do it. Those concessions already happened. We can't get those back. And now we have fewer and fewer things on the table to play around with. And we know that the PM doesn't want to move really far on supply management. So maybe he's willing to make some tweaks. So I'm curious to see what is beyond the reporting that we've already seen, because we also know that the president drives a hard bargain and he's not likely to settle for sort of going back to the status quo.
This is significant. So if you had to guess which way this lady leaned, you probably wouldn't guess Liberal, but this lady works for Crestview Strategy.
Which is a Liberal lobbying
Almost entirely a Liberal consulting firm. And we've done, in one of our previous investigations, we've shown you like how many of these lobbying firms and how many lobbyists are actually involved with these firms as part of the of the Canada Health InfoWay scandal, the $300 million
The prescribed IT?
prescribed
Yeah.
IT scandal. So a bunch of these consulting groups were getting money from the Liberals on that. So this is somebody who is from Crestview Strategy saying this. So to hear this, this is very interesting, to say the least.
Marika, it was the Globe and Mail that first broke this story this morning. I'm just wondering what stood out to you from the reporting that your team has done on this as well.
Well, we have more reporting and updates coming tonight, and I think what stands out to me is that, as Ginny and Jono mentioned, the Prime Minister will have to make concessions in this, and it wasn't part of his branding coming into office. And public opinion polling shows it's not where Canadians are. The Prime Minister's office has not done a lot of groundwork laying in terms of setting expectations for Canadians, in terms of the concessions and the possibility for pain as part of this deal. It has been very close to the chest what that means. And so that leaves, I think, Canadians in the dark. And it leaves a question for me politically as to how they now sell this to Canadians. But one of the things we're starting to hear is that a baseline across the board tariff is part of the talks on the broader USMCA. I'm sure that doesn't come to you as a surprise, Katie, but the fact that people are now acknowledging that, I think, is really significant. And it leads to more questions about what else. Again, this is early. Talks are still ongoing. They're changing by the day. So who knows where this lands? But we are hearing more and more from Canadian officials that some form of tariff is going to be here to stay.
Yeah.
Master negotiator, Mark Carney.
But it's Trump's fault.
Well, it is partly Trump's fault.
I was going to say it's not entirely his fault. I would say it's, I don't know. I don't even know if it's 50-50, but there is shared responsibility.
Trump's going to do what Trump's going to do.
Yeah.
Again, Mark Carney was billed the Trump whisperer. He literally was. And we posted an article in a previous video on this. He's the guy. I'm just trying to hold him to the standard that he sold himself at. If you sell me a $500,000 car and you say it's a Ferrari, it looks like a Ferrari, it sounds like a Ferrari, it smells like a Ferrari, I'm expecting a Ferrari. If you sell me a $500,000 car and I get a Toyota Prius,
that is not a Ferrari.
I'm going to say, where's my Ferrari? Right? And this is what Canadians are asking. It's not being pro-Donald Trump. It's, you said you could deal with this. And you're not. And I'm guessing what they're hoping to say is, we got tariffs knocked off by 50%. We negotiated the best deal in Canada. Like, that's what they're going to, be ready for that. Be ready for that. That's what they're going to say.
Yeah, they're going to gaslight us all to think this is fantastic. I think any improvement on the 232 tariffs is better than what is currently happening now, but it's still worse than it was before. You know what I mean?
Well, and they better be careful because, as we heard, these businesses are most of them are in single-digit margins.
Yeah.
Now, if you say they're going to be operating with a 10% tariff, okay, then they can moderately increase their prices and kind of deal with that. But if it's a 15 to 20%, and that's how it's staying, do they price themselves out of the market? That's the concern, right? So this is where things are at. But it's fascinating to hear somebody now from mainstream media, Globe and Mail, and Marika, I want to give credit where credit's due. She's pretty balanced. But to hear them say it on CBC, and this is not making Mark Carney look all rosy to Canadians. This is not good for him.
So our reporting also has that American officials they expressly said to the Canadians, as long as Donald Trump is the president, there will be some kind of tariff that is involved here. Right now, we understand it to be around the 232 tariffs and the steel and aluminum. Those are not going to be going away. But the question is, can the Canadian team get those lowered? Our reporting has been through industry sources that the Canadians want to be able to go out there publicly and say, we have the best market access to the Americans and want to be able to hold on to that and point to that factually. So they want a lower rate than what others are doing. But it's, Jono, how difficult is it, a point that Marika made, how difficult is it going to be for the Carney government to try to sort of sell this as a win to Canadians when it is going to have to come with concessions?
Look, we've gotten this far. We're 14, 15 months into the Carney administration, and Canadian public opinion seems to have followed along as things have evolved. And I think there's probably a general understanding, I don't think that far into the weeds, but a general understanding that getting the best deal possible, getting a deal that is an improvement over the current situation, not the status quo before all of this, but the current situation. So if it's reducing the 232s on those core industries, if it's having a baseline tariff that's low and lower than any other country, yes, he's going to have to sell that as this is the best deal possible. But if we compare it to other countries, and if in fact that's the case, we stand in a better position. Canadians so far have gone along with that, and I suspect they probably will. It'll depend on really where the pain points remain and where, we'll be able to figure out who's really paying the biggest price, which industries, which sectors, where they are geographically. So that's the political perspective, how they sell that to each of the different sectors, workers in those industries, businesses, all of that.
So, as you saw, this guy was former advisor to Trudeau out of Quebec. I don't agree with him. I think he's trying to tell Canadians what to think here. He's trying to say, well, public opinion has followed along and, that we've had the best. No. What we're seeing, especially in these polls, is what Canadians have done is Canadians have, at least the Liberal voters, have taken this stance of anti-American, anti-Trump, and pushing back on anything, right? Resist.
How many of them do you suppose are snowbirds and go down to the United States during the winter?
Oh, many, right? But you also have this poll that came out, again, that it was a large number of Canadians. It was like 60 or 70% think that we shouldn't be conceding anything and that we should be retaliating. So what happens when Mark Carney finally does do the deal, concedes even more, and doesn't get complete relief, and tries to say, well, I negotiated the best deal in the world. That's what he's going to try and say. And this guy just confirmed it.
Well, and then we'll have nothing left to concede.
Well, it's all gone.
I mean, you can't get blood from a stone, right?
So, and we're still going to have baseline tariffs across the board. And Mark Carney is going to try to claim that as a win. Yay, we have tariffs on us. Really, Mark Carney? This was your plan? This was the guy who was going to handle Donald Trump? Wow. Amazing.
Well, I just don't understand the whole liquor thing, because if it's going to be such a big deal, just put it back on the shelves and
let the market choose.
Right, exactly. The Canadians who are elbows up probably won't be buying American liquor.
Right. So, do what you need to do.
Yeah.
But when you have this situation here, it's a big problem.
Ginny, what do you make of, in this moment, while there appears to be so much momentum, but again, it seems to be sort of mixed messaging about, is there the possibility that they can get to a landing zone? What do you expect to hear from the Carney government as this goes forward? Do you expect that Canadians will be kept up to date, or are we going to have more of this sort of behind the scenes secret, leaks coming out eventually? Are you expecting there to be more transparency at this point?
Well, there's sort of two dynamics. There's that dynamic you described where the government is keeping its card close to its chest. And there's also the Trump factor. Mm-hmm. We keep, as Canadians, in our reporting, in our coverage, in our analysis, wanting to revert back to a normalcy where this is how trade deals are negotiated. This will be the next phase. They'll come to a landing spot. Donald Trump doesn't come to a landing spot, right? As many liberals have told me over and over about how, you know, Trump's word isn't worth the paper it's written on. So are we to accept that when they reach a landing spot, that means that this time Trump is for real, and only to have him a week later be offended by someone or put off by something or get a call from someone and change his mind, right? So I think the government is cognizant of that. I think they're savvy and they understand that, and they don't want to declare victory too early. I actually worry that with some of this reporting, they may seem to be declaring victory a little bit too early, only to have things sort of messed up as they go along or confused or put off. I didn't hear Brian Clough's comments, but I think he's probably right that betting on a deal anytime soon is probably unwise. I certainly wouldn't. And so they have to be really, really careful about this. And if I were them, I would not overpromise. The business community really, really wants certainty, and I just don't think they're going to get it in the way that they hope for. And the government has to be really careful how it communicates so it doesn't raise expectations too high.
Ginny raises a super interesting point about the ability to trust an agreement with Donald Trump when we've seen him not sort of abide by the deals that exist. Marika, do you think that there needs to be a conversation in Canada, whether it's among the business community, among voters, among the government? Does there need to be a realistic conversation about whether this is the right moment to sort of continue on with pursuing Kuzma? Do we need to have a bigger, broader conversation about whether this is even worth it?
We unfortunately need it. And so there is no other option. And the Prime Minister has acknowledged that himself in the change of tone, change in message. He's gone from last year's election campaign to his speech in New York, where it was about making America great again with a Canada strong. That is an acknowledgement that we need this North American fortress they are now talking to. And so they are forced to play on the playing field that Donald Trump has set. And that is just the state of play. I think it's really important to note and emphasize everything that we're hearing, your reporting, my reporting, all the reporting we're seeing, all shows that this is not a return in any way to normal. Canada is making concessions for less pain, not no pain. They are concessions to have still some form of tariffs. It's just not as bad. And to the question of the premiers that you started the conversation on, Donald Trump, you know, for all his faults, is smart. The 338 tariffs that are threatened to come in a week and a half target BC, Ontario, and Quebec. So if those premiers say, no, our booze ban stays in effect.
Folks, we have a medical emergency. Gotta go. Sorry.